The quarterly board meeting at Metropolitan General buzzed with its usual self-importance. Gleaming oak tables and leather chairs filled the top-floor conference room, where Seattle's skyline provided a dramatic backdrop through floor-to-ceiling windows. I sat quietly in my dark blue Armani suit, watching my mother command the room in her signature white lab coat and pearls. "And now," Mom announced, adjusting her designer glasses, "we'll discuss the upcoming merger with Meridian Healthcare." Her voice carried that special tone of authority she'd perfected over 20 years as chief of surgery. "This merger is crucial for Metropolitan's future. We need their resources and network of specialty hospitals." I took a small sip of water, keeping my expression neutral as board members nodded along. My mother hadn't even glanced in my direction since I'd arrived, exactly as I'd planned. "There's just one concern," Dr. Anderson, head of cardiology, interjected. "Rumor has it Meridian's new leadership is quite aggressive with acquisitions. Are we sure this merger is in our best interest?" Mom waved her hand dismissively. "I've been running this hospital for 2 decades. Trust me to handle some young upstarts, yo." She paused, then added with a pointed look my way, "Speaking of young doctors, Sarah, I'm surprised to see you here. Shouldn't you be doing your rounds? This meeting is for department heads and senior staff." The room grew uncomfortably quiet. I set down my water glass carefully. "Actually, Mom, I was invited." "By whom?" She frowned. "You're barely finished with your internship. These discussions are well above your pay grade." Dr. Anderson shifted awkwardly in his seat. Several board members suddenly found their tablets fascinating. "Sarah's still finding her footing," Mom continued, addressing the room as if I weren't there. "She's always been interested in hospital administration, but she needs more clinical experience first. Years more." She smiled, that practice smile she used with difficult patients. "Darling, why don't you go check on your patients in the neurology ward?" I checked my phone discreetly as it buzzed. The message made me smile slightly. "Merger documents ready for final signature." "I actually have a rather extensive background in hospital administration," I said quietly, opening my leather portfolio. Mom laughed, the sound sharp and dismissive. 2 years as an intern hardly counts as extensive, dear. Now about the merger terms. 20 hospitals in the Seattle area," I continued calmly, "plus another 40 along the West Coast. Meridian's newest acquisition added another 100 specialty centers across the country." "Sarah," Mom's voice held a warning note. "This isn't the time for." "The total network now includes 300 hospitals," I said, my voice carrying clearly across the room, "making it the largest private healthcare network in the country." "That's enough," Mom snapped. "Just because you read some articles." "I didn't read articles, Mom." I pulled out a thick folder of documents. "I wrote the merger proposal." Her coffee cup froze halfway to her lips. "What are you talking about?" "Perhaps we should formally begin the merger discussion," I said, standing slowly. "As Chief of Neurosurgery and CEO of Meridian Healthcare, I believe I'm qualified to lead this portion of the meeting." The coffee cup slipped from Mom's fingers, shattering against the polished table. Dark liquid spread across the surface as she stared at me, face draining of color. That's impossible," she whispered. "You're just an intern." "I completed my residency 3 years ago," I said quietly, "while running Meridian. The internship here was to evaluate Metropolitan's operations personally before the merger." I turned to address the board. "Now, shall we discuss the future of your hospital?" "My hospital," Mom interrupted, voice shaking. "I built Metropolitan from nothing. 20 years of 18% profit margin," I said. "Declining patient satisfaction scores. 3 malpractice suits pending. Outdated equipment in radiology." I met her eyes steadily. "Would you like me to continue, Dr. Harrison? Or shall we discuss how Meridian plans to modernize Metropolitan's operations?" The room sat in stunned silence. Outside the windows, Seattle's afternoon sun caught the steel and glass of the buildings I now owned. Mom's coffee continued to drip slowly onto the floor, each drop marking the seconds as her carefully constructed reality crumbled. My phone buzzed again, merger announcement scheduled for tomorrow morning. I smiled slightly, remembering all the times Mom had told me I wasn't ready for leadership. All the dismissive comments about my lack of experience. The constant reminders that I was just an intern. Now then, I said, taking my mother's place at the head of the table. Let's talk about Metropolitan's future under Meridian Healthcare's direction. I believe you'll find our terms both fair and non-negotiable. The boardroom's tension could have been cut with a scalpel. Mom's hands trembled as she gripped the merger documents, her eyes darting between the Meridian Healthcare logo and my signature. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, Chief Executive Officer. 3 years, she whispered. You've been running Meridian for 3 years? 5 actually, I corrected, pulling up the quarterly reports on the room's main screen. I founded it with my inheritance from Grandma. The money you told me to invest wisely in a small practice. I bought my first failing hospital in Portland, turned it around in 6 months, and used the profits to acquire 3 more. Dr. Anderson leaned forward, studying the financial projections. These numbers are remarkable. A 40% increase in efficiency across all departments. AI-driven scheduling, upgraded imaging equipment, and streamlined emergency protocols, I explained. The same systems we'll be implementing here at Metropolitan. I paused, looking directly at my mother. Unless, of course, you'd prefer to decline the merger. Mom's face flushed. You can't just walk in here and... Your hospital is losing money, Mom, I cut in softly. 3 million last quarter alone. Your emergency room wait times are twice the national average. Your surgical equipment is outdated. And your best doctors are being poached by better-funded hospitals. The board members shifted uncomfortably. They knew I was right. I gave you everything, Mom's voice cracked. The best schools, the best opportunities. You gave me criticism, I corrected. Constant reminders that I wasn't good enough. Remember last Christmas? When you told everyone I was hiding in my internship because I couldn't handle real responsibility? The memory hung between us. I'd sat silently through that dinner, knowing that across town, my company was finalizing the purchase of its 100th hospital. While you were questioning my abilities, I continued, I was revolutionizing patient care systems across the country. Remember those unnecessary coding classes you mocked? I used that knowledge to develop Meridian's proprietary hospital management software. It's now licensed to every major healthcare network in North America. The door opened and my assistant entered, tablet in hand. Dr. Mitchell, the press release is ready. And the Wall Street Journal is requesting an exclusive on the merger announcement. Mom's head snapped up. Press release. I nodded. Metropolitan will become Meridian's flagship teaching hospital. We're announcing a $500 million renovation, including a new trauma center and research facility. I smiled slightly. Congratulations, Mom. Your hospital is about to become the most advanced medical facility on the West Coast. Under your leadership, she said quietly. Under better leadership, I corrected. You'll retain your position as chief of surgery. You're an excellent surgeon, Mom. But the business decisions. I closed my laptop. Those will be made by people who saw Metropolitan's potential when you couldn't. Dr. Anderson cleared his throat. Dr. Harrison, speaking for the board, we should consider. Consider what? Mom interrupted. That my daughter secretly built a healthcare empire while pretending to be an intern? That she infiltrated my hospital just to save it, I finished. Metropolitan was 3 months from being acquired by MedCorp. They planned to turn it into an outpatient facility and lay off 70% of the staff. I met her eyes. Including you. The color drained from her face as the truth sank in. Her hospital, her life's work, had been circling the drain while she'd been too proud to see it. The papers need your signature, I said quietly, sliding the folder across the table. Unless you'd prefer MedCorp's offer? The room held its breath. Outside, Seattle's afternoon had turned to dusk, the city lights beginning to twinkle. Mom stared at the documents, 20 years of authority and certainty crumbling around her. Finally, she picked up her pen. Just tell me one thing, she said, hand poised over the signature line. All those times I dismissed you, criticized you, were you ever going to tell me the truth? I thought about the lonely nights building Meridian, the missed family dinners because I was closing acquisitions, the quiet pride I'd swallowed at every dismissive comment. I tried, Mom, I said softly. You just never listened. The pen scratched across paper, transferring power with a single signature. Metropolitan General was now part of my empire. Mom stood slowly, straightening her lab coat one last time. "Well then, Dr. Mitchell," she said formally. "I look forward to working under your leadership." As she walked out, shoulders stiff with wounded pride, I looked at the empire I'd built from her doubts. Sometimes the best revenge isn't served cold. It's served with a multi-million-dollar merger and a corner office view. The news of Metropolitan's merger with Meridian Healthcare exploded across Seattle's medical community like a carefully planted bomb. By morning, my face was splashed across every major business publication. Healthcare's hidden billionaire, the intern who built an empire. I stood in my new office, previously the hospital's executive suite, watching the sunrise paint the city gold. The Wall Street Journal lay open on my desk. At 32, Dr. Sarah Mitchell transforms Metropolitan into West Coast's premier medical center. A knock at the door interrupted my thoughts. "Come in." Mom entered, looking smaller somehow in her surgical scrubs. The past 24 hours had stripped away her armor of authority, leaving something raw and uncertain behind. "The board approved all your proposals," she said, placing a folder on my desk. "The renovation plans, the new trauma center. Everything. Thank you." I turned from the window. "The contractors start next week. We'll begin with the emergency department." She nodded, fingers tracing the edge of my nameplate. "Dear Sarah Mitchell, Meridian Healthcare. The residents are calling you the ghost CEO. They can't believe their intern was actually running 300 hospitals. 301 now," I corrected gently. "How are you handling the transition?" Mom's laugh held a bitter edge. "You mean how am I handling working for my daughter? The one I've been lecturing about real responsibility for years." She sank into one of the leather chairs. "I spent the night reading about Meridian. Your innovative patient care protocols, the AI diagnostic systems, the medical research funding." She looked up at me. "Why didn't you ever tell me?" I sat across from her. "Would you have believed me or just called it another dream?" Silence hung heavy. "The board meets in an hour," I said. "Reports already in your system," Mom replied, then softly, "Your paper on neurosurgery was brilliant." "I learned from you," I said. "I just used it differently." My phone buzzed with a new deal. Mom saw it and sighed. "I thought I was pushing you. I didn't see you were already there." "Metropolitan's secure now," I said. "Your legacy is safe. We'll build bigger." She stood. "Should I report to you after the meeting?" "Report to Dr. Anderson. I trust you." At the door she paused. "That Christmas when I said you hid from responsibility, I was wrong." I watched her leave, head high. Outside, crews started construction on the new hospital. Another buzz. The press wanted a statement. I straightened my jacket, Seattle shining in the glass. "Send them up," I said. The doors opened to waiting cameras. Success had proved them wrong. Transformation proved me right.